today we are doing the Jewish Sages, shul.com originals. Today we're talking about Don Yitzchak Abarbanel. We do have a painting of Don Yitzchak Abarbanel. They called him Don, like Adon, the master. We'll see why in just a moment. Don Yitzchak Abarbanel ben Yehuda, born 1437 to 1508, was born in Lisbon, Portugal, to the famed Abarbanel family. The prestigious family was said to have descended from King David and royalty. It was very common to the life of Don Yitzchak. He was a student of Rabbi Yosef ben Shlomo ibn Yahya, the Parshan on the Torah, the author and poet, the rabbi, and the rebuilder of the Ibn Yahya synagogue, Calatayud, in Saragossa, Spain. A direct descendant of Hiya al-Daudi, who was a great-grandson of Hizkiah Gaon and also a member of the Davidic dynasty. Yosef ben Yahya composed a commentary on the 5 Megillot in a book on Gan Eden and the afterlife called Torah Or. 2 additional books, Derech HaChaim and Ner Mitzvah, were lost in the 1414 burning of the Talmud in Padua, Italy. His son Gedaliah is the author of Shalshelet HaKabbalah. The primary reason these book burnings were so critical and damaging to Jewish history is that many writings prior to the printing press in the 1450s were only handwritten and copied by hand. So once a book or scroll was changed, damaged, manipulated, or burned, there was very little to remedy the situation for future generations. One of the biggest things that we know from Mamre Hazal, there were 700 Sidrei Mishnah. Today we have 6. Where are the 694? I don't even know we don't even know what they talk about. But there seemingly was so much Torah that we don't have anymore. Don Yitzchak was a real Renaissance man. He combined with himself philosophy, Torah knowledge, great financial acumen, diplomacy, and linguistic abilities with the multilingual tongue. He was the Minister of Finance in Portugal to King Alfonso V, the African. He later was beseeched to come to Spain to be the Minister of Treasury and head the finances for King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Interesting to note, the 2 leading financial advisors to the Spanish king were Abraham Señor and Don Isaac Abarbanel. Señor was the catalyst for financing the voyages of Christopher Columbus to the New World. So that was the investor, Abraham Señor. Columbus seemingly came from a Jewish family that converted to Christianity in 1391, who later moved to Genoa, Italy. Many hints exist to his Jewishness throughout his writings and logs in our possession today. One of the things that I heard, I didn't see it, was that in the diary of Christopher Columbus, on every page was written B'siyata Dishmaya in the corner. It could have been that he had Jewish sailors on board, which he definitely did because Jews were running away from Spain. But it's seemingly that Christopher Columbus, him in and of himself, was a Marano. Was a Marano that he was Jewish and he wanted to find a new land for lots of reasons. One of them being that the Jewish people needed a place to live without being terrorized every time they wanted to do something of the religion. Abarbanel was so valuable to the kings that he didn't have to convert Christianity. It's unbelievable. Meaning, when King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella said that they wanted everyone to convert in the Spanish Inquisition, they didn't include Abarbanel. They told them, everyone else has to. You're too important for us that you can just stay the way you are. Many times did Don Isaac personally offer to spend large amounts of his personal wealth to bribe the Spanish monarchy to cancel the expulsion and permit the Jews to remain in Spain. He tried to bribe the king multiple times not to do this thing. And I'm sure that Don Yitzchak Abarbanel tried to convince the king that the beracha the king was having was because the Jews were there in his country and he was allowing them to practice freely. Some claim that Abarbanel offered 600,000 crowns for the revocation of the edict by the Inquisition, but the Torquemada, the Grand Inquisitor, pressured against the decision. There's a museum called the Museum of Torture. You know about this?
They have one down here.
Yeah, they have it here in America. The Museum of Torture.
They have one in Florida.
Oh, I don't know. I know that they had one up north. But the Museum of Torture shows you some of the things that the Spanish Inquisition did to the Jews. I recommend anyone who's not from the faint-hearted to go and see it, because you kind of see what the Spanish did to the Jews. If you think they just let them go out or let them leave, it was nothing of that. They made them suffer, and they made them in such pain and gruesome acts in order to convert, and they died al yichud Hashem through that suffering. There's a big difference between someone that's going to the olam ha'emet, than to go through that suffering. And that's what the Spanish did in the Spanish Inquisition. Don Yitzchak chose to go into exile with his brethren, and he left Spain in 1492. He later became a financial advisor to the King of Naples. See, everywhere he went, Don Yitzhak, he was accepted for his knowledge, and anywhere he went. When he went to Italy, King of Naples. When he went to Spain, when he went to Portugal, all the time. In his later years, he threw away all these secular accomplishments and devoted himself to writing a commentary on the Bible and authored holy works that how he is remembered today. The Perush on the Torah, Don Yitzhak Abarbanel, is not a simple one. It's not a simple one. I've read it a few times. It's one that you're not reading it on the fly.
No.
You're going to be sitting down. He's a philosopher. Sitting down, you're focusing on what the pasuk, what the perek is, and he's going to take you on a voyage. He's going to take you on a mental voyage in his teaching. He was said to have regretted working for so many mortal kings in his lifetime that he wanted to devote the remainder of his life to the immortal king. Wow. Of heaven and earth. He said, my whole life I'm serving all these kings. All they did is what they did to the Jews. I'm done with that. He wanted to retire. I'm devoting to the immortal king. Don Yitzhak had a broad knowledge and tremendously deep faith and is a hero in the course of our Jewish history for us all. He died in 1508 in Venice and was buried in Padua next to Rabbi Yehuda Mintz, the Rabbah of Padua. Unfortunately, the siege of Padua in 1509 destroyed the Jewish cemetery, and sadly, his grave location is unknown today. I got a print of the 1642 print of the Abarbanel on the Nevi'im. So here's a copy. I believe I pulled this up, I think, from Hebrew books, if I'm not mistaken, one of them. But you can take a look. This is the 1642 print of the Abarbanel. It's right there. You can take a look at it. It's pretty interesting. And we're going to put this online under shul.com originals. We'll have that there under the publications. This will be one of the shul.com originals. I wrote this a while ago for the Chabad, the shul at Bell Harbor. They used to do like the weekly sage. So we did a bunch of them, and we'll teach them out now. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.